University, Faculty of Commerce, Political Science Department, Dr. اشرف, Senior. So today we're gonna to cover the power transition theory. So power transition theory holds that the structure of the international system is not a sufficient predictor of conflict, which means that the international system as a hierarchy, our hierarchical, requires some understanding of conflict and cooperation. So in terms of, we have dominant country, we have middle powers and midgets. So we need really to know more about the measurements, the way to measure power of each country. So after that kind of measurement, we can really describe the current situation of international system. So power transition theory describes the international system is a hierarchy dominated by one power, like now the US, the strongest state in the system. Power transition theory implied assumptions and clear hypotheses. One, the international system is hierarchical. Alliances are fixed. The power of each state is constantly changing in relation to other states. Domestic power changes are the source of the greatest instability in the international system. The rising state initiates war. This is very important. Probability of war is higher with power parity. Power transition theory is the basis of this hypothesis. When rival died, power gap decreases, the likelihood of war increases, and it is severity. Major severity is pretty easy. Number of deaths exceed than 1,000 deaths per day. The disparity among the local rivals' power would decrease the likelihood of war. So keep this type of hypothesis in your mind if you have potential questions in this slides. Military builds up. Richardson hypothesized that the outbreak of World War I and World War II was strongly linked with arms races and big gap in military build-up among European countries. The main fundamentals encompass in that the arms race relationship, interactions, and accelerations over time. The first, an arms race presented a competition between one state and another. The second, the fast build-up of two opposing states' military capabilities to prevent attack by the other state. Very simple. Military build-up approach is the basis of this hypothesis. When rival dies, military build-up gap increases, the likelihood of war increases, and it is severity. This is remind us about the same assumption of power, balance of power. The armament disparity among the local rivals will increase the likelihood of war. So keep in your mind, we have different theories. Arms race, very close to balance of power, but power transitions in the opposite of balance of power, and basically the opposite of military build-up assumptions. So you have to understand the three theories: balance of power, power transitions, and arms race. The anarchic structure of politics. The structure of politics, we should really understand that international organizations do exist. So structure versus anarchy. Power transitions, part of structure of politics. Anarchy describes balance of power. Remember, anarchy means no central authority, no central power really control the international system. Power transitions now describe the international system as really controlled by dominant country, hegemon, the strongest state. So we have to understand that kind of differences between balance of power and power transition. International political system, like economic markets, are formed by the co-action of self-regarding units. It means that each country would like to promote its prosperity depending on its resources, its people, its leaders. And in terms of balance of power, anarchy, realism, no central power, as I mentioned, control the international system. International political system, like economic market, are individualist in origin. I mean, the self-interest really promote the move, the motivation of each country to survive in the international system. Units and their function, very important. I mean units here, I mean states and the function of the states. States are the unit of international system. So states are not only the actors in international political system. We have different actors, like non-state actors, international organizations, alliances. So when really to describe the international system, describe the conflict, describe cooperation, you have to understand all these kind of units inside the international system. Distributions of power. One country rich, one country poor. One country is stronger than others. Anarchy versus hierarchy. Anarchy relevant to balance of power. Hierarchy relevant to power transition. Great powers versus small powers. Capabilities tells us something about units. Of course, rank the states. We have big guys, we have small guys, we have strongest guys, and we have midgets. States' relation to each other move from friendship versus hostile or hostilities. Alliances. So we have to understand violence at home and abroad. We need to understand that too. Prepare to use the force. Absence of government encourages the occurring of violence. If you don't have a strong government, so the violence domestically can really, repeat it. We can really see it over time. If you have a strong government, you have stability. If you have a strong states, we have stability. Interdependence and integrations. التكامل والاستقلال أو الاعتماد المتبادل. Self-help system. This is very clear that each country would like to depend on its power. Insecurity, uncertainty. If you are insecure, you will behave in different way. If you are uncertain about something, you will behave in different way. If you have certainty about something, you will behave in different way. If you are secure, you will behave in different way. So you have to understand that differences between being secure or insecure, being certain or uncertain. As structures and strategies, some constraints really control the state moving behavior. National interests versus international interests. Your national interests to protect your country, to promote your country. International interests, like the Security Council, like Arab League, European Unions, international organization, protect the interests by using force, like China, United States, Europe. They have some interest in different countries. Basically, the only way to protect their interest is using force. I mean military power. Anarchy versus hierarchy. Hierarchy elements within international structure limit and restrain the exercise of sovereignty. The anarchy affects the cooperation. So you need really to understand if you are live in an anarchy system is different than you are living in hierarchy system. Domestic and international politics have much in common, of course. If you really control your state pretty well, you can act pretty well. If you are not really stable as a state, you will not be stable in international politics. Domestic politics involve the selection of leaders or by leaders of policies. Because you already elect that leader. So these guys, they are responsible to choose the different policies, choose peace over war over peace, and actions designed to keep them in office. They like to stay as much as they can in office. So basically, they don't like to be in different conflict. Probably this kind of conflict can really consume the resources. They're gonna to be a poor country, so next elections, the electors gonna to remove them from the office. International affairs leader must worry that their foreign policies not only may mobilize domestic oppositions capable of overthrowing them, but also may reiterate a foreign rival, sparking attack possible defeat. And this is like, the ربيع المشؤوم 2011 بالنسبة لمصر. نحن لقينا إن القلق اللي حصل جوه البلد خلى الأوبوزيشنز كيبل إن هم يكسروا في البلد، وكان ممكن يدي فرصة لدول معادية لمصر إنها تبدأ الهجوم علينا، وده الحمد لله ما حصلش. The former leader of Taliban against USA on 9/11, also they remind us about small countries, Afghanistan versus the United States, and so on. All politics is concerned with making choices about acquisitions and allocation of scarce resources. Resources are not enough over time, so you need really to be careful about your resources: oil, gold, people, your land. Politics is about authoritative allocation of resources. This is, once you elect the leader, you elect the government, you really need to think about, how to locate your resources. Defense budget, your money, international trade, your cooperation, military coordinations among allies. International politics is not the product of randomly emerging events. Events are the product of patterns of choices made by decision makers, responding to and creating new circumstances in the international arena, like coronavirus, China versus United States versus China. So now we have a new event, so you need to respond to the current situation now, the new circumstances. Why nations sometimes cooperate with each other and other times engaged in bloody, violent conflict, war. We would like to know more about theories. This is why we should study power transition, balance of power, arms race, deterrence, democratic peace theory, liberalism, realism, offensive realism, defensive realism, that focus on structural aspects of the international system to explain sometimes customs and make predictions. This is what you need in your career if you are really studying politics. There are many theories that provide different way of thinking about how to promote international cooperation and prevent conflict, like power transition, balance of power, arms race, deterrence. Theories are important to explain what the theory assumes about international relations, logical consistency, that you need really to keep it متسقة في التفسير لكل نظرية. Personal taste has no place in judging facts. Facts as a facts. You can't really change facts by your color, your mind. You need really just to report the facts. This is why we need theory. لماذا نحتاج النظرية؟ أن النظرية تعطينا دائما نتائج متسقة مع فروضها. How relations of cooperation, التعاون والتنافس and competition take shape across national boundaries على الحدود الوطنية لكل دولة. International cooperation, self-interest guide you to behave in international cooperation or international relations. Cooperative arrangement involves the development of international organizations, الاتحاد الأوروبي، جامعة الدول العربية, and laws or norms of international behavior. هل النموذج الآن تعاوني صراعي؟ Scandinavian countries help Palestine to build a viable society out of Gaza Strips that ended years of war between Palestine and Israel. Power and distrust is very important. Unfortunately, the structure of international system based on distrust, and the challenge for each country now to move the behavior from distrust to trust. Examples of conflict: Israel, Syria, no trust, distrust. Greece, Turkey, move from distrust to trust because both of them, they are part of the NATO. The US and Soviet Union in the past avoid conflict after they improved that level of trust. What we called at that time hotline, or the الخط الساخن بين موسكو وواشنطن. Structural theories like power transitions maintain the international relations shaped largely by factors beyond the control of decision makers, like your GDP, your military power. You need really to build that in the past so you can really use them now. You can't really use them now if you really fail to build them in the past. The flow of causality in structural theories. The follow of causality in structural theories state that structure decays, goals in conjunction with structure lead to certain outcomes. This is why we need consistent theory, like inputs, outputs. Liberalism theory, international political economy, all that kind of theories that really share that liberal perspective are more likely to treat international law as a serious constraint on national action. This is why we have liberalism, realism, both of the theories against each other. Liberalism really promotes cooperation, realism really promotes conflict. Characteristics: system of organization, hierarchy, power distribution, hegemon, states. The problem of collective action. The goal. Each country does like to maximize wealth. The outcome: either cooperate or conflict with each other. According to the liberal theory, power and security vary from issue to issue. Liberal theory considers power to be less fungible than the new realism. New realist and trade. Free trade has direct negative effect on security that makes some government reluctant to support free trade. In terms of a new realist, if you are my enemy, why I have to cooperate with you? أنا لو أنت خصم هتعامل معاك ليه؟ لأن أنت لو تعاونت معاك هتبقى challenger وتتحداني بعد كده. Characteristics of the system of organization: anarchy, no central power, popularity, like unipolar, bipolar, so bipolarity ثنائي القطبية. Power distribution توزيع القوى balanced or unbalanced متوازن وغير متوازن. Free riders الراكب المجاني are common feature of international organization landscape. مصر تحملت العبء الدفاعي عن كل الدول العربية في حروب 56 48 67 73. NATO and the United States. United States عندها obligation والتزامات تجاه حلف الأطلنطي، بينما حلف الأطلنطي ما بيدفعش نفس القيمة اللي بتدفعها اليونايتد ستيتس في الالتزامات الدفاعية للحلف، وده اللي اتكلم عنه ترامب في الفترة الأخيرة لما كان بيتكلم عن إن أعضاء الحلف ما بيقدموش المساهمات المتساوية نسبة إلى الانفاق الدفاعي من إجمالي الناتج القومي بتاعهم. وهنا بدأ يظهر الفري رايدر اللي هو الراكب المجاني، زي ممكن تكون سبين أو إيطالي أو تركي أو غريس. liberal theory and promotion of cooperation. النظرية الليبرالية بتدعم التعاون. hegemon بتفكرنا دايما ان هو hierarchy or anarchy. repeated actions بتدينا تصور لشكل الناس بتتصرف ازاي في المستقبل. There is a big problem for the big guy to solve the problem of collective actions. ودي أنا مسؤولية إن المشكلة بالنسبة الكبيرة للولايات المتحدة إن هي تحل مشكلة الراكب المجاني في الإنفاق الدفاعي في حلف الأطلنطي إزاي؟ أو فرنسا وألمانيا يحلوا مشكلة الراكب المجاني في الاتحاد الأوروبي إزاي؟ أو مصر تحل مشكلة الراكب المجاني في العالم العربي إزاي؟ Doing action against his or her interest. US and EU عندهم مشاكل برضو في التبادل التجاري. أمريكا بتدفع للأمن الدفاعي لأوروبا مقابل الأوروبيين يتاجروا في أماكن تانية بعيدة عن الولايات المتحدة. فدي مشكلة solve the problem، وده بيحصل إن إحنا بنحصل حاجة اسمها punish sufficiently، العقاب الكافي أو الرادع. لأن لو الناس عملت cheating وبلد خداع ده بيبقى طبعا غير مقبول لأنه مكلف costly. liberal theory versus conflict. ده بيرجع لأن ممكن الدول اللي بتعمل بالنظرية الليبرالية برضه يعملوا صراعات، لأن لو البرودكت of uncertainty or في misinformation about the intention of other states ممكن الليبرال يعملوا حرب ويخشوا في صراعات زي الديكتاتورز أو الأوتوقراطيك. الانفورميشن بتساعدنا to help avoid conflict. Keep in your mind better information is not grantor of cooperation. And poor information does not necessarily make conflict more likely. فده بيتطلب ان في factors كتير. You need better information, you need certainty to promote cooperation and avoid conflict. Methods of exercising power, persuasions, to persuade someone, الإقناع, convincing, but nation A, appeal to responses, values, ethics, moral, and principles, and it has effort to persuade. مجهود بيتعمل عشان تقدر تقنع حليفك بأن أنت عندك قيم ومبادئ وأخلاقيات للإقناع. It is the first to control the behavior of the others. Liberal theory and new realist. ده مهم قوي نشوف الفرق بين الليبرال ثيوري والنيو رياليست أو الواقعية الجديدة. هنا مهم قوي إن احنا نعرف نظرية البيروقراطيك ثيوري، وده طبعا اللي هم بيسموها الديب ستيتس اللي هي الدولة العميقة، اللي هي بتقول لك إن الانترست جروب emphasize on persuasions to persuade someone، and الموضوع مش موضوع إن أنت بتعمل شيب توك يعني البرسويشنز هنا مهمة قوي. لأن كلام رخيص ما بينفعش إن هو يخلق الكومن انترست، لأن في rewards في punishment like North Korea with US, NAFTA, NATO and so on. البرسبشنز الإدراك، الردع، التيروريزم. punishments لازم نعرف primitive punishment الضربة الاستباقية. الردع بينجح لما بيبقى عندك قدرة على إن أنت تعمل carry out or threats، عندك قدرة على تنفيذ ردعك. credible link with the cost، لازم تبقى موثوق في الردع بتاعك لأنه مكلف. bluffed اللي هو يعني إن أنت بتضحك كده وخلاص ممكن يكلفك. والbluffers or the bluffs are well and good when leaders have no intention of carrying out. لو ان القادة مش قادرين ان هم ينفذوا، ففي خوف ان انت تعمل bluffing or bluffs or bluffed. If a threat failed to extract the desired behavior and the country issuing a threat does not follow through the punishment it is imposed to deliver, then the leader of that country are revealed as bluffers. وده اللي بيرجعنا لفكرة الديمقراطيك versus dictators، وده very important في البرسبشن والإدراك، وده اللي بيفكرنا بحرب 67 إن إحنا كان عندنا مصر شوية بلافرز كانوا بيتكلموا، ولكن إسرائيل ضربت في 67 لأن إحنا ما قدرناش ننقل التهديد إلى credible and we failed to carry out to deter Israel from attacking Egypt in 1967. The relationship between perception and terrorism, how beliefs influence actions، وده اللي بتواجهنا مع الجماعات الشريرة الإرهابية. هم عندهم beliefs you can change them، هم true believers، فطبعا بيبنوا أفعالهم على الأفعال أو على الأفكار العقائدية التي لا تتغير. Deterrence depends on perceptions، الردع بيعتمد على الإدراك. The goal of deterrence is to pursue an adversary not do an actions، بيقنع الخصم ان هو مش هيجم عليك او يقوم باي عمل. لكن امريكا عندها سلاح نووي، روسيا عندها سلاح نووي، فبالتالي عندهم الاثنين perceptions ان هم they can't attack each other. بيقول لك الردع كنظريه مهم في الجنرال deterrence، extended deterrence، extended immediate deterrence. في ثلاث حاجات للردع: الردع العام، الردع المتصل او المتواصل او الممتد، و extended immediate deterrence الردع الممتد والمؤثر في التو او في اللحظه. وده يعني مهم قوي ان انتوا تعرفوا الثلاث نظريات او الثلاث موضوعات. ايه general deterrence؟ وده كان موجود في الكولد وور في الحرب البارده. And refer to the action of one nation when it tries to deter another nation from attempting to alter the status quo، حينما يحدث هزة للوضع الحالي. ففي محاولة ان انت ايه to attempting to alter the status quo. ده اللي هو general deterrence. Extended deterrence refer to the action of one nation when it tries to deter another nation from attempting to attack the third nation. يعني أنا أمريكا والصين أو أمريكا وكوريا الشمالية ما تضربش كوريا الجنوبية. ده اللي هو extended deterrence، أو إن أمريكا والصين ما تضربش تايوان. Extended immediate deterrence this is the final step in crisis، وده الأخطر. Prior to the outbreak of hostilities threats is actually carried out. التهديد بدأ ينفذ، يعني انت بتهدد، بدأت تنقل سلاحك، بدأت ترفع صواريخك، قادر على تنفيذ immediate strike. Successful deterrence depends on persuading would-be bully not to change an aggressive behavior. وده very important ان انت تركز ازاي تقدر تقنع يعني المهاجم او اللي هيقوم بعمل عدائي ضدك كالبلطجي بالي ان هو ما يهجمش عليك. Perception, deterrence and terrorism. General deterrence and extended deterrence fail when the threat is made. يعني يفشل الردع اذا الضربة حصلت خلاص. Extended immediate deterrence fails when the threat is carried out. وبيفشل extended immediate deterrence لما يكون التهديد بدأ أن ينفذ على أرض الواقع. وده بيرتبط طبعا بالcredibility of deterrence، التهديد الموثوق. ده depends on the maker is capable of imposing punishment. اللي بيقدر يقول هينفذ. سأفعل ولن تفعل، سأفعل ولن تفعل، ولم تفعل ولم تفعل، which means that أنت failed to impose your punishment. زي مثلا طالب بيتكلم عندي في الكلاس وقال يا ابني اسكت، يا بلاش كلام، وبرضه يتكلم وما عملتش في حاجه، يبقى انا failed. ده يعتبر the credibility of my deterrence خلاص كده بقى vanished. The maker is capable successfully to carry out the action specified in the counter threats. يعني يقدر ان هو يكون مستعد كمان ان هو يعمل مواجهة ومتابعة للتهديد الذي يأتي من الخصم أيضا، وأنه قادر على نسف هذا التهديد وضربه قبل أن يصل إلى أرضه.